to me all night.
Welcome to Screams and Streams, the podcast that looks at the best and worst horror movies as rated on Rotten Tomatoes from 1970 onwards. I'm your host, Mike Caron, and with me is my co-host,
Chad Campbell,
and our special guest,
Sam Schreiner.
Be sure to check us out on Instagram. Our handle is @ScreamStreamPod. Also check out our website at screamsandstreams.com for more information about all the films we are looking at. Just a warning, if you don't like spoilers, we recommend that you stop listening now, check out the film, and then rejoin us for our discussion. Today, we are looking at Andrzej Żuławski's 1981 film, Possession. It scored 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's get into it. Chad, do you want to give us our plot summary, please?
Sure. After Anna reveals to her husband, Mark, that she is having an affair, she leaves him and their son. Mark is devastated and seeks out Heinrich, the man who cuckolded him, only to receive a beating. After a series of violent confrontations between Mark and Anna, Mark hires a private investigator to follow her. Anna descends into madness, and it's soon clear that she is hiding a much bigger secret, one that is both inexplicable and shocking. So I also found these things why to watch, and they're just little quotes from people who have reviewed this. And one was, the plot was so intricate and unexpected. The underlying themes were really cool. The acting was top notch as well. And the other one I saw was, Possession is pure artistry, beautiful and terrifying masterpiece from one of the world's greatest filmmakers. So those were two reviews that I found.
All right.
Yeah.
Starting out with why to watch is probably a good idea because that is the question you'll ask yourself
Yes.
as we go through.
Exactly.
All right, thank you. And so our sinister sip for this film is the Berlin Berry Gin from Ginferno. Let's see how this goes.
Looks wonderful. Cheers, guys.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I love that.
that is nice. It's just gin, lemon juice, grenadine, and a wild berry soda. I just use strawberry bubbly.
Nice.
Love it.
Then, yeah,
Oh, it tastes awesome.
nice and easy and quick. All right, we're going to get into our first impressions. Sam, would you like to start us off, please?
Absolutely. So I had never seen this movie prior to this past week. I'd never even heard of the movie. I assumed it was a type of like demonic possession just by the name. I first looked up the poster, found it pretty intriguing, and instantly I was like, okay, let's see what this is all about. Instantly, we go into the film and it's a lot more modern looking than a lot of other films seen. I'm not sure if that's just the lighting that's going on as well, but it did feel a little bit more modern. I did just watch Evil Dead a couple days beforehand, so maybe in contrast, it just seemed a little bit more modern. Overall, I felt that it was super long. I feel like I had a lot of questions after watching the film.
Like, why did you watch it?
Yeah, honestly, a little bit. Yeah, I was like, why? And then I went through and I read a bunch of reviews and they were all so positive. And I was like, am I not getting something from this?
Right.
So as I was going through, I had to really think, and I kept thinking about it afterwards as well. And I still don't know if I really understand what's going on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, I'll jump in on that one. This movie is awkward, angry, and jarring are the notes that I put
Yeah.
into this. And I fucking hated it.
I love when Chad hates a movie.
Every minute of this film made me want to turn it off. Oh my God.
It is a trial to get through.
Yeah.
I don't know how to church this up at all. I just hated this film. I wanted to turn it off so many times. I thought the scenes were too long. The editing was so hacked up. It was trying to be artsy and trying to be something that I just was not into at all. So no, why to watch? Don't fucking watch this.
You have not been this aggressive out the gate in a long time.
I love
man,
it. I love it so much.
Oh, every fiber of my being, I hated this film. Mike, you're up.
Okay. I loved it.
Yeah.
This movie was an exercise in film viewing. I had so many questions about just not even just the why of watching, but just the why of every decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam Neill's physicality was off-putting.
Yeah.
I tried to mimic it for my coworker the other day.
Don't do that. Did they file a complaint to HR is what I wanted.
And I did like the weird, like he does this weird shoulder shimmy / robot walk. And I was like, I can't do it as smooth as he did. And they're like, hell yeah, that wasn't smooth. I'm like, no, but he makes it look natural, but not. So there was just a lot of that. And the term that kept going in my head was like, this is a roller coaster of reaction for me. Because I was just like, what the fuck? Why? okay, maybe. Nope. But nope. Like it just because the acting it's stage acting.
Yes.
And I had to sort of put myself back to watching Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because if you go back and watch Cheers, the scenes between Sam and Diane when they're fighting and they're arguing,
right,
play like two theater trained actors. And so when you watch it in a sitcom, it feels disingenuous or doesn't feel natural to the milieu. And watching this film, same thing. I'm like, I tamed down my sort of vitriol with, okay, they're theater actors. And that made me accept at least their delivery for the rest of the film. I still hated the melodrama. I hated the...
Not an excuse.
No.
It
didn't make the film good, but it at least got me through that part of the watch. So that is my like very initial first impression. This is my first watch as well. This film comes from a recommendation from a fan. And when they said Possession, I was thinking of the film The Entity. So I was really excited. That is in our list of films coming up. And I was really excited to get into it. I'm like, oh, yes. And then on Instagram one day, the subway scene came up. And I was like, oh my God, this is what we're watching. And then Sam and I had talked about it and just how weird it looks. And if you go to IMDb, there's the more like this list of films. And there's like Deep Red, Eraserhead, Suspiria. All of these weird body horror films. Mm-hmm. So I said to Sam, like, we're getting into something with this one.
Yep. And boy, did we.
And so, I did not enjoy it, despite all of the sort of excuses I made for the film.
Right.
It was too long, over 2 hours.
Yep.
At one point, I was doing the math of how much I've watched and how much is left. And I was sort of scrolling through the trivia of the film. And it mentioned that like there was an uncut version of the film. And I was like, oh my God, there's a longer version. It's like, no, I am watching the uncut version of the film. This is the long version. I was like, oh, I wish that we'd gotten the shorter.
Yes.
Yeah. I kept checking the time as well. And I'm like, oh God, I still have another hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, as did I. Numerous times in scenes. I was just, how much longer? Yeah, it was a grind.
Not as aggressively angry as Chad, but did not enjoy it any more than Chad did. Let's now move into our tropes hall of shame. Chad, what was one of yours?
My first trope is when he calls Anna's friend and he's talking to her and he figures out that she's having an affair with this guy. And he asks, well, who is it? And the friend says, does it matter? And I put, it always matters. I don't care. It always matters. Who is this person having sex with my wife? So just the excuse, well, it doesn't matter. She's just not happy. No, it doesn't fly with me. No, that's my first trope.
Yeah, we'll get into Margie later, maybe. The friend. Sam, what was one of your tropes?
I said the elementary school teacher that like cares so much and like to the point where it does a house call as they're taking a bath and the dad's like, here you go. Here's a towel and a bar of soap.
My later categories, but it's the weirdest parent-teacher meeting ever.
So bizarre. And then I also like the fact that this was happening when Heinrich comes and they have that weird conversation in the next room. So I thought that was kind of hilarious because I can just picture being like, what the heck is going on over there? So that was definitely one of them. The overcaring elementary teacher.
My trope was the exploding cars.
Oh.
When they have the shootout.
Yes.
Blows up so easy.
3 of them go off, don't they? Like in succession. It's crazy.
And I just love he gets into the taxi. It's like, I want you to drive into that car as fast as you can. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then the guy stays in the car, though, until after it's crashed, though, doesn't he? The driver?
Well, Sam Neill rolls out.
Yeah. He stays in, and then he just gets out instead of getting out before him.
I love the rollout, too. It just
See, you loved it. There's positives.
He just jumps out of there. And, I loved it because it looked so bad. And he jumps out and I was just, oh, come on. I mean, he basically gets up unscathed.
Yeah.
I mean, no road rash whatsoever. So, yeah.
Chad, what was another one of your tropes?
Well, I had sleeping with someone to get back at someone who has hurt you was one. Like he sleeps with that one girl that he just meets in the elevator there. Or did I imagine that?
I don't remember this. Do you?
I don't.
There's some friend that she ends up dying at the end.
Is it Margie?
With the groceries, she brings the
Oh, yeah, that's
groceries.
Margie.
Is that
Yeah.
Margie? Doesn't he sleep with her?
I thought they started to, but then stopped. Oh no, he does because they're
does.
naked. Yeah,
Because they're in bed
I'm mixing,
together.
I'm
Yeah.
mixing up the doppelganger / school teacher /
Right, yeah.
whatever.
No, he sleeps with her too.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he does sleep with.
yeah.
Right, yeah, okay,
But he does sleep with Margie initially
right,
just to get back at his wife, who could care less,
yeah.
right? But
She's got her own things going on.
yeah, she's got a lot of stuff to take care of. So that was another one of mine.
Sam, what were your last ones, or what were some of your others?
I said the husband that works too much.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then I said the like bad guy or evil guy or whatever has creepy eyes. So they always have the dark eyes
Oh,
in
yeah.
contrast to like the blue or the green. So
I did like Sash feel bad. He's come back from one of his missions. They're like, we need you to do this again. He's like, no, I need to be with my family. Cut to family's falling apart.
I'm leaving you. Yeah. Yeah.
Too little, too late. Now we're going to look at our one-liners, and I'm going to start us off with this. It was just a weird line and doesn't really come back till the end of the film, but also at the time didn't make sense, and at the time was just way too obvious. It hit you over the head. But it's when he's in front of the panel and they're debriefing from his mission and they're trying to get him to go back after his quote subject. Then the person asks the question, does your subject still wear pink socks?
Oh yeah.
And then at the end, one of the people from like the CIA or whatever it is, the intelligence agency, for no real reason, takes his shoe off to show his pink socks. So
yeah.
like he's investigating one of their own people, I guess, is what we're supposed to
Right.
hear from that. But
I even went back actually to that opening scene to see if he was wearing pink socks in that opening scene. Because I think he was there, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, he was on the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're
I
right.
looked back
Yeah.
and I like paused on his like socks that you could see and they were black. They
Oh,
were not
okay.
pink. So I was like, there's got to be something here that I missed. And I didn't. He was just wearing pink socks.
Yeah. Chad, what is one of your lines?
Well, one of the lines I can't even remember. I should have marked down where it was said, but your yin yang balls hang from your
Yes.
Zen brain.
Yes.
I wrote that one down.
I think this is the one that, so this was mine as well.
Yeah,
and I
had
think
it
this
too.
is what was happening when the teacher was washing up his son.
Yes.
So,
He was talking to Heinrich. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
You
okay.
with your yin yang balls.
From your Zen brain.
Sam, what is one of yours?
So that was one of mine. But another one I had, it's not spoken, but it's written on the postcard. So it's what Henrik wrote on the postcard.
Oh yeah.
And it says, I've seen half of God's face here and the other half is you. And I thought it was kind of sweet and romantic. It's a little over the top, but I kind of liked it.
It was. I didn't put it together. That was not his postcard to his wife at that time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this guy's name must be Heinrich.
He spent way too long reading that one sentence if that was the case.
Yeah. One of my other lines is at Heinrich's, and it's when Sam Neill is trying to like get into the apartment,
Yeah.
and Heinrich's there. He's like, "Do you want me to break the bloody door down?" And he's like, "You don't have to. It's wide open."
Yeah.
Heinrich is unflappable.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah.
Yep.
I had one, I believe Sam Neill's character says this when for me, God is a disease.
Yeah.
I had him say that. And I can't remember what the counter to that one was, but I thought that was an interesting line.
Yeah. Sam?
I had one. It's not much of anything really, but I just thought it was funny. So Heinrich sees the creature in the bathroom, which we'll get into and talk about
Right.
in a lot of depth, but he just stands there. He's like, what is it? Because all of us are thinking the same thing. And we're all like, I have to pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, we all are wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
Chad, do you have another?
I have Heinrich saying he's trying to make love with Anna and he says, don't resist me. You know I'm stronger than you. And I think that's when he sees she kind of gets him over to the corner and he sees the beast or whatever it is. Right. So anyways, I thought that was super creepy because this is a guy who's very, love and he's very philosophical. And then
Yeah.
he comes in there and he just is possessed and he, don't resist me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is happening.
Gross.
Yeah. And then he's going to drug her. Then he picks out these pills and he's like, I could give you some of these.
Yep.
And I was just, whoa, this guy went to ultra creepy right away. Not that the button down shirt to his belly button wasn't enough to show you how creepy he was.
Yeah.
Come on, do a couple more buttons up. What the hell was that? And it's not even a furry chest. Like, come on, man.
I have one more and then I'll throw to you, Sam. It's an hour and 20 minutes into the film, and it's Sam Neill saying to Anna, for the first time, you look vulgar to me.
Oh, yeah. I
Right.
had that written down in my
yeah.
notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it just because he should have given up on her so long ago.
So many times. Yeah.
Sam, what else do you have?
I have one more, and it's when I think it's the private investigators in there in Anna's apartment. And then I think it was. Anyway, so the creature's like lying on the bed, being all gross. And then she goes, oh, he's very tired. He made love to me all night long. Yeah. And they don't actually show the guy's face after, but I can just imagine him being like, fuck?
What? Yeah.
Chad, do you have any others?
Yeah, when Sam's talking to Anna on the phone and he's inquiring about, well, why do you like to make love to him? And why are you choosing him over me? And she's like, well, I get more out of it. and at that point, he's not like, well, fuck you. Like, she lists all the reasons why she doesn't want to be with him. And he still chases her. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same time where he's like, or maybe it's earlier, he's like, have you had sex with him? Yes.
Yes.
Will you do it again? Yes. Was he better than me? Yes.
Yeah. He goes through this laundry list that she just checks all the boxes and it's like, yeah, I just like everything about him more than you and I'm not going to leave him. So,
okay, well, maybe we should try to make this work.
Get over it.
Yeah, get a grip.
Do you have any others?
I had, which I thought was really weird. It's a time when Anna says to him, come admire him. And it was like to look at the sun. And I just wrote, what a weird way to say, come take a look at your son.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, come admire him.
Was that early on? Or?
It was,
it was
very close to the beginning.
And I've never like seen a child named Bob before. So I was like, it's usually Bobby or Robert or something. But
Robert
it's like,
usually.
go see Bob. And I'm like, oh, we're going to go meet Bob.
I'm not going to ask for rights to Bob.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What about Bob?
Oh, nice.
I like how I slid that in there.
All right. Speaking of things that aren't really around anymore, let's look at what doesn't hold up. Sam, what do you have in this one?
My first one was the private investigator.
Oh my God.
Followed Anna with like 10 feet at some point. And some
He's
points,
the worst.
And he's like sprinting when she's sprinting. And like, not only is it like so obvious, but this day and age, like no woman wouldn't catch on to that. And like no woman would go into their own apartment. Like they would go to a public place and like that kind of thing. Like that just definitely wouldn't hold up, but it was hilarious. And the scene was so long too. I would say it's like gratuitous in itself. And he's just like sprinting after her. And
I loved how when right after the sprint, they're going up the stairs and he's basically chasing her. And then she's opening the door and he just walks by her to make it look like, oh, I'm just going to my apartment. Like, who the fuck do you think you're fooling at this moment? Everybody knows you're stalking her.
I also love the little, like, he stamps his feet loud and then gets quieter as if he's still walking away.
It's so funny. It's so bad.
It reminded me of like
Cable Guy.
Yes, I'm going now. He's going behind the couch. It's
like
so bad.
Shrinking down to the people. Bye.
The worst PI
He's
ever.
the worst. Yeah, I had him as well.
I hope this isn't coming up on anyone else's, but I did love when the second PI is about to go into her apartment and she's coming out and he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Nothing suspicious.
Yeah.
Sam, that was your first?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's another one?
I don't know. It kind of fits. The transparent body bag they put the body in.
Yeah.
I was like, where on earth would you have it? Like, if you just killed somebody, why would you put them in something transparent? Like, usually it's like a rug or like garbage bags or something. It's just
wrap
like,
them up with something that they can't see through.
Yeah. And I thought it was so funny too in that the taxi when it hit the cop cars or whatever, and then they flew out with the car and it just like rolls out of the truck. It was so funny. Yeah, honestly. And it's so obvious what it is. It's not like a rug or some trash bags.
No.
It's literally just like,
Yeah. And that scene went on forever too.
Yeah.
Where he's packing it in. I made a note on it and was like, are we going to watch the whole thing where he puts this body into this body bag? We get it. Cut to the next scene. And they go all the way up until he puts the head in. And I said, well, they might as well just show the whole thing. And then they cut. And I was like, why? Why are you cutting now? We've seen the whole body go in the bag. Just show the zip up, which will transition to the next scene. So annoying. So annoying.
Oh, I'm just loving your anger.
it's the best.
Chad, what are a couple of your...
All this film doesn't hold up for me, but I'll narrow it down. Her possession in the subway where she dances forever is just way too long.
Yeah.
And she's heaving and I can give her props for doing that for that long. And she probably did it for hours because what they kept is the best of what she did.
Yeah.
But I was going to fast forward it. This is taking forever. I just really thought it was too long and they could have cut it. And then it became so over the top, like you said, with theater acting.
Yeah.
It was just so over the top that I didn't buy it. So here I am trying to get invested in a 10-minute scene that I already know I hate. So why am I watching? That's my one.
Yeah. And especially because like so many of the reviews said like that was the scene, like this is the best scene, you have to watch it for this. I was like, really?
And she won an award at the Cannes Film Festival for her acting in this film. And I don't think she did a horrible job. I just thought it was just way too much.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have dialed it back a tad and kept it tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm just waiting for you to get so angry that you throw your headphones and walk out of here. Like, you're so bad.
As we're having sinister sips and we're just fueled alcohol rage.
Chad's got the rye rage and we're drinking gin, so I don't know what's happening. Was that your first? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, do you want to go?
Do I have another? Oh, yeah. I got another. Well, the editing, I said I didn't think it held up because it was so choppy. There were just parts that were really long, and then there were parts that all of a sudden were into the next scene. There was a scene where Sam Neill's character goes in at one point, and then all of a sudden he's on a motorcycle in the next scene.
Yeah.
There's lots of choppiness throughout. There's a whole bunch of 360 shots that I even made a note. We're 10 minutes in, and we've already had 2 360 shots. Why?
Yeah.
His rocking back and forth on the chair was just weird. Who rocks like that?
Yeah.
And I just thought the editing was just not very well done.
And it was really confusing too. Like I didn't really understand the timeline
No.
of this film at all.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the custody arrangement either.
No.
Like that was really confusing.
They mention it in what I'm assuming is a cafe that's just empty.
Yeah. Everything was empty.
Yeah.
Every single place was empty.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, now that I think about it,
there was no one else.
No other people.
Yeah.
Except for the taxi driver. But other than that, it was just the people in the scenes,
Yeah.
right?
There's a couple maybe in some of the scenes, but not.
No,
Right.
It's a very empty Berlin.
And can I talk about the chase scene that he chases her out of the cafe?
Oh, that was
and
wild.
he's kicking the chairs and
Oh,
he's
that was
throwing them
great.
around. I was just, what is happening right now?
Takes like 5 cooks to restrain him.
my God.
And the cooks coming out with their hats.
Yeah, they're just
sprinting up there.
And he's just, I'm angry.
Yeah.
They were on him so fast.
Yeah.
They were. Because he was destroying the restaurant.
Yeah, I know.
Kicking chairs. And it was just... that was my second.
All right. My first one is the melodramatic conversation in bed when
yeah.
they're laying side by side and the camera slowly pans in and she's like right against the edge and he's right side beside her. Like smushed up beside her. So you think, oh, they must be sleeping in a twin bed. And then it pans over and there's so much space.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why? But then I guess it just goes to that, like his overbearingness. Like he can't even let her be comfortable in bed.
Right.
Yep.
Where there's just like, maybe all couples go through this. Maybe we should speak honestly. Is it difficult? No. And it's just like, oh my God, like not everything needs to be sold. Like you're going for your Oscar.
Right. Yeah.
It was so bad. And then that's where he's like, do you even like me? And she's like, not at all. So that's my first hold up. It was just, there was the bad acting at the very beginning. And then now there's this. And it's just like, oh, like buckle up.
Yeah.
Well, and we're just thrust into these characters' lives, like right out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
He comes back and she's, I want a divorce. And immediately I was, excuse me? What has happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did they get together? Why does she hate him so much all of a sudden? I don't get this. Right out of the gate, I don't like how this movie started.
And then my other one, I talked about it in my first impressions, but it's just Sam Neill's mannerisms.
Oh, yeah.
All of his physicality just doesn't hold up. It was so distracting. Like I understand that there's like when he has that seizure because he's so overwhelmed at the loss of the relationship.
Right.
Fine, I'll give you that. It went on way too long, but I'll give you that seizure scene or that shaking breakdown.
Right.
But he moves everywhere awkwardly. He does everything strange.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even read anything in my research that said why he's like that. So it just doesn't hold up for me because it was just a weird choice or a weird director prompt.
Yeah.
I wrote, I don't think I like Sam Neill as an actor except for in Jurassic Park.
And Event Horizon.
And Event Horizon. I did say that one too, yeah. But I just thought it was, he was just crazy. He was just way too over the top.
Right. Chad, what are some of your others?
The fight scene between Heinrich and Sam Neill in the apartment where he gets beat up. I don't know what kind of martial art that guy was doing, but it was all just very flowy and weird shapes and stuff. And I was just, I don't understand this fight scene at all.
No.
I wrote down, that was for my doesn't hold up, so I'll just add it, but like Heinrich's flopping around.
Yes.
Yeah. There was that, and like everything about Heinrich and his apartment. Did you guys see the like art on the walls? There was like the weird, like I think it was like a groin shot. Like it was like upper thigh thing going on there.
Yeah.
Like painting. And it was just the most eccentric. He was just very eccentric, I feel, as a whole. And so the fight scene was hilarious.
Well, in that one scene where he drives his motorbike and then he circles around and then just goes and parks it.
Yeah.
And I was, why? What are you doing? I don't understand this.
I thought he was like, maybe I shouldn't park right in front. Oh, maybe I should. Oh, maybe I shouldn't.
No,
Okay, I
go
will.
to the side.
And then that's used in like the most dramatic, that motorcycle, and the most like dramatically obvious, like when Mark lights the apartment on fire.
Yes.
And then he rips away on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's like so obvious that he just did that. He like sprints out, it explodes, and he's like, but there's no one to see it. There's no witnesses because there's
on the street at
there's
all.
no one around.
My last one was when she shoots Zimmerman. She's aiming the gun down and the squibs on his chest are going off. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
Okay, we're now going to move into our most gratuitous scene, and I'm going to start us off. And my first one is the bottle to the throat.
Oh, yeah.
And just the amount of blood and just, grotesque.
Yep.
It was good, but it was grotesque.
I kind of liked it. But
Yeah.
it was definitely gross.
Yeah.
Sam, what's one of yours?
There was a lot of screaming in the film as well. The subway scene we talked about as well. It was so gratuitous on so many levels. The screaming was what bothered me the most, and the length of it. So it was the screaming and then all the blood, guts, pus, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All that. Just the whole thing was definitely overly gratuitous.
Chad, what was yours?
Yeah, I'm going to have to double up on that. The amount of arguing, but not just having an argument, but having a yelling match. It was just every time they met, they screamed at each other. And I was just, I'm done with this. I can't listen to 11 the whole movie.
Right.
Like, give me a little bit of build up. Give me something. Like, don't just come in there hot and yell for 10, 15 minutes and go to a next scene. And then in the next scene after that one, come yelling again. I was just too much.
Yeah.
And then again, the subway where she's convulsing and doing all that stuff was just too long. So it just took me right out. I just don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
So.
And my next one was just the amount of food that Anna wastes. You've got the weird like meat grinding scene and the ground beef, and then there's the...
That was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that in another category, actually.
I have part of that scene too. But then in the subway before she has her like dance freak out, like she just takes her grocery bag and just like wails it against the wall.
That's right, yeah.
Wastes all that. And then later they're having a fight in the kitchen and she just rips everything out of the pantry and basically destroys everything there too. I'm just like, what does this woman have against food?
In this economy? What?
Yeah, that's right.
Sam, did you have another one?
It's just kind of funny. I don't know if you guys noticed the motor crash scene at the very end. So he's on the motorbike. He's been shot several times in the back.
Yeah.
And then he crashes the motorbike and the motorbike like slides, but he just keeps rolling. Like it's like a lot of rolling for what I assume. I have never crashed on a motorcycle, but I assume he would have just maybe rolled a couple times or just slid with it.
Yeah.
But he rolled forever.
All right. We're now going to go to our terrifying or tittillating. Chad, what scene was terrifying or titillating to you?
Well, I don't know if this was either or if it was just kind of just super weird. It's her sex with the demon. Just
Yep, that's
That
my
was
number
mine
one.
I was just, I think it's going to come in a later category as well. I was just Wow.
Yeah.
And long.
It was really long. And then the eye contact too.
And the
I think.
eye
It was like,
contact.
oh,
I was, jeez.
yeah.
The weird puppetry.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It was a lot. It was, yeah.
It was a lot to take in on
Yeah.
that one area. It's just, they went to her and she looks up and I just felt gross.
I was watching this movie and I was going to text Buggy because I'd already seen Evil Dead. I was like, what are the chances of like 2 tentacle porn movies in 1 week? Sam, what was one of yours?
So that was my big one. The second one was the eyes. Like Anna's eyes and the school teacher's eyes were so blue and so green. Like, was that creepy? Was that meant to be something more? I don't know. But it was really intense, I thought.
I have to confess something about the school teacher. I don't know if it was because I wasn't paying rapt attention to the film, but when he was like, hey, what is this wig? Is this some kind of trick? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, what is with her wig? Why? And so I rewound it and I did not catch that she looked exactly like Anna. Like it was the same actress.
Yeah.
Was unaware until later when she shows up at the apartment. I'm like, hey, they look the same. Check IMDb. Oh, it's the same actress.
Yeah. And then the like super weird conversation he has with Bob when he's like, who's prettier or something like that. Like that was weird.
Yeah.
They're literally the same.
Yeah. And my terrifying or titillating was the squid demon sex scene as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much hit you over the head.
Yeah.
You watch this movie all the way through and then bang.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, imagine being the puppeteer. So what am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're now going to go to our stood the test of time. Sam, what were some of the great parts of this film for you?
Okay, well, I didn't love a lot of this movie, but like I mentioned before, I loved that it was like super bright. I really liked the lighting of it as well. So I thought it seemed really modern because of that. And I thought that the camera angles that were used too made it pretty intimate. Like I think the conversations were really uncomfortable that the actors were having. And I think the camera work around the intimacy in those scenes made it that way. So.
Yeah. Right. Sam, did you have another one?
Yeah, I kind of liked the ending scene because everything was so slow. And then I don't know if it was just because it started becoming a bit more action packed, but the whole ending scene from when the taxi cab hits the cars and there's the explosion, it's kind of go, 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 which I kind of appreciated because everything was so long. And at that point, I had already checked. There wasn't much time left in the film. So I was like, all right, we're getting somewhere with this.
We're moving on. Yeah.
But I did appreciate that. And I appreciated the blood and gore in that aspect on that scene. The blood was fairly realistic, I thought.
Yeah.
And you could see it coming out of Mark's mouth. You could see just the blood dripping. There was so much blood.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it got shot in the back a couple times. I don't know. I kind of liked that scene and the staircase scene. Really, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good. Sorry, is there another way out of here? She points up and then he like crawls up on stands on her shoulder. It's like, I did not see that coming. The poor girl. And just the look on her face, like when they pan to her, because you don't see many people in this film. And then she's at the staircase and her mouth is just wide open. She's just like, just staring down like at what is happening. There's literally like a cop shootout happening. And she's just like, oh. One of my stood the test of times is, I wouldn't say it's for the whole film, but the choreography of the camera to the characters in a lot of scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And the time that I really noticed it was when Sam Neill is coming into the kitchen and the camera has to sort of move into a doorway for him to get past, and it sort of like moves around him, but keeps him as the focus. And they just blocked it really well. And I was like, oh, that was actually a great little shot there and movement of camera.
Right.
Yeah. So 3 seconds of the film. Great. And then the next test of time for me was just the shock when she puts the electric knife up to her neck.
Yes.
I was like, oh, like I exclaimed. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
As violent and weird as this movie's been and gets, I was uncomfortable when I saw that scene.
Yeah.
Well, and it was unexpected too because she's using a meat grinder, which is terrifying. And her hand is going in with the meat into the meat grinder, but then she uses the blade instead.
Yeah.
So I thought it was like unexpected as well.
Yeah. Chad, what were some of yours?
So right after they break up, Sam Neill's overall look and demeanor, I thought was well done. He's very pale and he's crashing on the bed, the beer bottles strewn about, like he's really going through something there. And I thought they did a very good job making him look like he's struggling and he can barely hold it together. And then I also said the blood and the slashing when she gets her throat slit. I thought that, I was like, whoa, that looks really real.
Yeah.
I thought that was very well done. And I don't know why I like this. I just liked it. When Sam cuts his arm with the knife and there's no emotion. He just brings the knife. It's like an electric bread knife.
Yeah.
And he just brings it and cuts 3 marks into his arm with no expression, no pain, no screaming, nothing.
Yeah.
He just does it. He's possessed. He's like a man possessed, and he cuts it up. And I thought, wow. I think I liked it because it was one of the scenes where it wasn't over the top.
Right.
And he wasn't like, oh my God. Like there wasn't yelling and screaming and craziness. It was just, I'm messed up.
Yeah.
And I like that. I wish there was more of that because it was so much hit you over the head. I'm angry and I'm not happy. But this was really disturbing, just how he did that with no emotion. So I like that.
Okay, we're now going to move into our eerie to ear splitting category. Mine was, I actually did like the 80s synth pop in the scene where he's at the canal and he sees the dead dog in the water.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a great song. I want it. That was really the only time in the film that I noticed music or sound design. Everything else was just over the top. And so maybe it was just the quietness of that scene and just great music.
I said the same thing because the opening scene has music as well.
Yeah.
And I wrote the first thing. I was like, oh, good tune right off the bat. So I actually said the music was really good too.
Chad, what was one of yours?
I agree with the music, but I went to the ear splitting side of it, and it was just all the yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was too much. And there wasn't a lot of music in this film. So the times they used it was good, but I thought they didn't use enough of it.
Yeah.
And it got overshadowed by all the negative energy and the yelling that happened throughout the film. So I thought for the most part, this was an ear splitting movie.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I definitely agree. The other thing that I had was just the constant dripping in Anna's house. Like, like we all know what's in the bathroom at this point. So it all makes sense. But I thought it was really well done that it was just the constant dripping.
Right.
We're now going to get to our what the fuck moment. And I think we all have the same one possibly. But Chad, do you want to start us off?
Well, I don't know. It might be the same as everybody's, but mine was the teacher coming to the house and bathing the son. I was just, in what world does the teacher come and the guy's like, hey, he's just in the tub. Just finish him off while I go address whatever situation is happening over here. I just thought it was like, what the heck is going on here? She just shows up and then she does that. And then I did put the weirdest parent-teacher meeting ever. And then they sleep together.
Yeah. She enters the domesticity of that family very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
My what the fuck moment, I thought it was going to be the squid or the squid demon.
Well, that was my second because I had 2. So
But the scene when she steps in front of the truck and like causes the truck to swerve and then the car that it's transporting rolls off.
Right.
And then she just smiles, walks away, and there's no follow up with what happened with the truck. And then he just turns, plays soccer with a couple of kids, and then Margie shows up and they get overly intimate. I was just like, like it was just
weird.
The most bizarre sequence of events.
Play soccer with a couple of kids. And then
I forgot about that.
It's just so
just
bizarre.
weird.
Sam, what was your what the fuck?
So mostly the meat grinder and meat carving scene. I know we just talked about it, but I really had to kind of think about it. So essentially it comes down to the fact that she cut her throat open because she wanted to avoid answering questions and avoid a conversation. So she then goes and then slices her neck open. Like not a finger. She doesn't nick her finger and go, oh no. She like pulls it up to the neck and just like slices her neck open. So that was a what the fuck moment for me.
And Chad, did you have another one?
Well, my second one was the thing. It was the thing on the bed, but actually the thing when you first see it.
Yeah.
In the corner?
Yeah, when they open up the door or they walk into this area and you just see it in the dark and it's just kind of pulsing.
Yeah.
And you're just, I literally, what the fuck is that?
And that's what the private investigator said. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then it just gets bigger and bigger throughout the last bit of the film. So it was, it was wild.
Yeah, it really came out of left field.
It really did.
This is a very human deterioration of psyche, and now this blob monster.
Chilling in the bathroom.
We're now going to go to our back it up moments. Sam, what is a scene in this movie you would actually watch again?
I liked the ending.
Yep.
So I actually really did. And I think it's because it was so fast. So it was only, I think, maybe like 10, 15 minutes of the whole 2-hour film. But it was quick. It escalated. I liked the blood. I actually did go and watch it back as well. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
One of mine was the debrief with the panel when he comes back from his mission.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's one of the 360 shots, Sam, that you talked about. Like the conversation was good. Again, it's one of the quieter moments.
Yeah.
Right? It's not over the top. And just the way the camera moves around the whole room and really shows the space and
The empty space.
Yeah.
There was
very
nothing.
empty
There's
space.
only a filing cabinet in that.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
nothing.
Just a table and them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get the metaphor. Their relationship is empty. So is everything else. I don't know. In case you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Sam, what was another one of yours?
My second and last was Bob's drowning scene. But it wasn't like, because it was good, but it
yeah.
was so weird. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I had to go back and I'm like, oh no, he drowned himself.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
so odd.
So
yeah,
that
he
was
jumps in
weird.
the tub, right?
Yeah.
That's when everything's kind of going off and he goes and jumps in the tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and rewatch that one because I feel like I missed it. I feel like the whole end scene, the reason I had to rewatch all of it was to kind of understand what was going on because it happened kind of out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
caught us a bit off guard. So
And I did have another one, and Chad, you've talked about this, and I think I just liked it for, again, the blocking of the actors. And it's when they're meeting in the cafe, and he's sitting at the table for two, and he's expecting her to sit across from him.
And she sits next to him.
And she sits, and they're facing 90 degrees opposite each other. And
Yeah.
they have that whole conversation. I actually really liked it because, again, you're establishing the separation and the...
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting choice. And
Yeah.
it definitely shows that, I don't want to have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
So,
And then it just goes crazy and he runs through and breaks everything and gets tackled. But the moment when she comes in and sits down, I will back up those 5 seconds.
yeah.
and that's the funny thing. Every time we've said something we've liked about the film was the down parts of
Yeah.
the film, right? The things where they're using subtlety and they're using their big people voices to discuss their issues, right? They're not losing their mind and they're not throwing stuff at each other. And because all that stuff just becomes too much.
Yeah.
And I think it's an easy way to show your anger, right? Is to yell and scream and, oh, look how mad I am. But it's really difficult to show that turmoil that he's having and do it in a calm way.
Right.
And so, I had no back it up moments, I'm going to say, in this film. My favorite part of this movie was shutting it off.
Finally, a marathon.
I wholeheartedly feel you. Okay, we're now going to go into our hidden in the shadows. And I've got just a couple of thoughts that I couldn't figure out where to put.
Yeah.
There's a scene early on with Bob. I did find it interesting that he's a terrible parent at the beginning and it takes a divorce for him to become a good father. That was kind of a neat little flip.
Right.
But then I left him with the school.
But then
teacher.
leaves him for the school teacher and lets him drown in a bathtub. But otherwise, great. Or I should say a better father, not a good father.
Yeah,
there
he's
you go.
not a good father.
Stepped up from being not there at all
Yeah.
and then wanting to give him away and just be
Yeah.
like, I don't want Bob anymore. It's
And then he
fine.
comes back and finds him like he's lived 2 weeks on his own or something in this
Yeah.
house, like covered in jam. I did like that. Just because like that's what a kid would be, like just covered in like
Yeah,
Kids are
just
so
whatever.
sticky.
Yeah,
They're so
yeah.
sticky.
He'd just be disgusting because he ate Pop-Tarts all the time. Yeah.
But there's a scene early on and he holds Bob and he puts his hands sort of with his thumbs on the ribs and his hands go around the back.
Right.
And he just sort of like looks at him and assesses him or something. But then later there's a scene with Anna and Anna's topless and he holds Anna the exact same way.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So it's almost like he can't hug, but that's his way of being intimate. Or there's like, I don't
Right.
know, there's a distance, but not. So that's my first one. And then another one that came up was, this was just my like, again, making excuses for the film or making meaning to it. But I was like, and this comes around the subway scene and the goo coming out of her and the like spit and the fluids. But I was like, is she possessed?
Yeah.
And then I was like, or are they going like possession? Like she is Sam Neill's possession. She is Heinrich's possession, right? Like she's just an object for them to own, which I think is the more accurate one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that subway scene, I'm like, is this now a demonic possession? But it wasn't. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, what were some of yours?
I wanted to talk about the pink socks, but I know we've already touched on these just because I feel like, I don't know if it was something thrown in to catch us off guard. I don't really understand it.
No, I don't know.
at all. So that would have been nice to have some closure on that.
On the pink socks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I noticed was that I really liked the symbolism of the Berlin Wall as well. So I found that really interesting. And I know, Chad, you had mentioned the divide between the two of them in the cafe. So I liked the symbolism of the Berlin Wall. And so those were some of the only people you saw in the film.
Yeah.
Those two guys watching their apartment.
Yep. Also weird, but yeah.
I wasn't sure where to put this, but it's pretty ballsy to start a movie with an affair when we're not invested in any of the characters or their relationship or anything.
Right.
Out of the gate, they're separating and well, why should I care about this?
Yeah.
And also, was Bob important to the story at all? Like, why was he there?
I don't know. Well, because...
To show what a shitty father he was?
Well, and how shitty Anna is too, because she goes off to Heinrich and leaves Bob as well.
They're both horrible, but I don't know why we needed that in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to show like they're so self-centered. I don't know.
And then he runs and he kills himself. I just didn't get it. So one of my questions was, does Bob need to be in this film?
Yeah, honestly, like it would have made sense too to see like some negative effects of Bob, like some impacts of the divorce and the arguing and stuff like that. But you don't really...
Bob is unfazed as well.
He's unfazed until the end, apparently.
And then they say like that awkward conversation where who do you like better or who is prettier? And then Mark, that's Sam Neill's character, says mommy. And so he's, with the doppelganger, but he still carries this torch for Anna.
Yeah.
And I don't know, every interaction with Bob was just weird and I felt kind of tacked on. So I just didn't understand why he needed to be there.
Yeah, the film definitely can exist without him.
Totally.
Yeah. But there wouldn't be the teacher doppelganger. But then there's the argument of, is she even necessary?
I don't know.
Because they could have gotten everything with Margie, right? They could have used Margie to fulfill all the stuff that the school teacher does.
Right.
But then as like the school teacher, because she's so caring and nurturing and she's like opposite from Anna, is that purposeful? Because they look the exact same. So are the doppelgangers then like the idealized versions of Mark and Anna? Is that what we're supposed to be, or different versions?
So the teacher's everything that he wants.
Yeah, because she's so doting. Like she comes in,
she's all over
caring.
him.
And she's very caring. And so is that part of it? Because his doppelganger goes back to the house to live with.
Right.
I'm assuming, right? So is that like...
Yeah, that makes sense. Because there was a lot of stuff in the articles I read that talked about like the doppelganger is Mark without the toxicity, right? So maybe you're right that Anna is, or the school teacher is Anna without the coldness.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
bizarre
everything else.
Yeah. We're now going to look into our bonus features to add some understanding ? To the film. I didn't find a ton, but Sam Neill on the film just talked about my sanity was barely intact after filming. And then talking about Zulawski, he's like, I didn't like him much. What he saw as direction often was just downright bullying. But he had vision. He was a true cineast, and they are rare. So like, But that bullying thing, it's like, I feel like they were harassed, because even Isabel, the actress who played Anna, talks about that too. Sam, did you?
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I had the same thing. So the actress Isabel that plays Anna, she said that she would never take on a similar role again. And there's rumors that she attempted suicide after filming completed.
Yeah.
And then the source that I got this from, it is a magazine, so it's faroutmagazine.co.uk. It said that Zulawski actually confirmed that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Chad, what you get?
Well, I just had a quote from Isabel, and she says, "Possession is only the type of film you can do when you're young. He is a director that makes you sink into his world and darkness and his demons. It is okay when you are young because you are excited to go there. His movies are very special, but they totally focus on women as if they are lilies. It was quite an amazing film to do, but I got bruised inside and out. It was exciting to do. It was no bones broken, but it was like, how or why did I do that? I don't think any other actress ever did 2 films with him."
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of dark.
Yeah. I had Time Out magazine was talking about the behavior of Isabella Gianni's character, compared it to the actions of a dervish of unrestrained emotion and pure sexual terror. Like, I didn't like the film, but you got to give props to an actress that commits that physically to the basically destruction of herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
She also said it took her several years to get over playing Anna.
Yeah.
Right. And she never took a similar role.
Yeah.
So it obviously haunted her.
Yeah.
And she threw everything she had into it.
Yeah.
So I mean, props to her for that.
Yep.
And I'm sorry I shat on this movie so much, but
Well,
it is
a
a
bad
hard
movie.
watch.
It is.
And it's very over the top. And I just didn't feel like I bought into this.
I don't think you need to apologize though, because it is that question now where we have, is it great direction or is it, like, to use Sam Neill's word, bullying? Like, we don't see that anymore. We don't
No.
allow it anymore. Sam, what do you have?
Zulawski was going through a divorce during the time, and so it was reflected in this film. That was the first thing that I saw when I Googled the movie afterwards, and I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. Okay, we can kind of get into that headspace.
Yeah. He's clearly angry at the partner he was leaving.
Yes.
Yes, it makes a lot more sense when we go through there.
Yeah.
I can almost imagine him, just because if Sam Neill's character is sort of his reflection in the world of the film, I can almost see Zulawski taking a print of this film to the ex's house and be like, this is what you did to me.
And it makes me sad too, like that it's based kind of on some of his experience.
Yeah.
I don't know which scenes and that kind of thing. I didn't dive that deeply in, but that is really sad if that, that's
Yeah.
their experience.
What's crazy is, like, it's rated high on Rotten Tomatoes. In our research, we saw all these reviews that were like singing the praises of this film. I didn't find a lot of negative or any,
No, me either.
but it did not perform well, right? The budget of the film was 2.4 million and the box office was 1.1 million in the US and just slightly over that worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, it did not.
It tanked.
Yeah, it did not do great. Chad, did you have anything else?
Well, I found a quote that said Sam Neill once cited Possession as his personal favorite of all the films he's ever been in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when he said that, but yeah, I would disagree.
Yeah.
And I did also find that, Isabel won the Best Actress Award at the Cannes Film Festival in 1981 for her performance in both this picture and James Ivory's Merchant Ivory production of Quartet. So she's, an acclaimed actress. It just fell short.
I did like on rollingstone.com with the release of the restoration of the film, that like there are crazed manic cult movies and then there's Possession.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is a step beyond.
Yeah, for sure.
Sam, did you have anything else?
I actually saw that the designer of the tentacle monster actually did the animatronic head for Alien.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then he also does E.T. as well.
Oh, well, I will say that the monster did look good.
Yeah.
It just was very off-putting.
It was really gross. It was really fucking gross.
And that ends our discussion on Possession. Thank you very much for listening to us. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We are at ScreamStreamPod.
Are we going to do our watchability?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck. I just want to be done with this too.
Just end it.
All right. We're now going to go into our watchability scale. And I'm going to start us off, and I'm bouncing between a 1 and a 2. It's no higher for me. The reason I'm thinking about going to the 2 is only because of those back it up moments we talked about.
Right.
But they're not worth, I've decided they're not worth the 2-hour sit down. So I'm giving it a 1. I don't think this is worth hunting and checking out.
Right.
Sam, how would you rate it?
I think I'd go a little bit higher. I think I'd put it as a 3. So it was like 2 hours was way too long. They can cut a lot of things out of it.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of questions. So I kind of like movies that it kind of end with like a, what the fuck did I just watch? And then, there's still a lot of questions that we have and through the discussion that we just had. So yeah, overall I'd give it a 3. I don't think I would really recommend it to anyone, but I think it could create good conversation on some of the key pieces. So
For sure. And Chad?
Well, I give it a 1, and only because I can't give it a 0. But it was, there are moments that I liked, but not enough to even boost it past that. I did like the use of the blood and the gore. The monster was cool. But other than that, that gives it a 1.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I found redeemable about this film. I just really didn't like it. And again, 2 hours, a lot of these scenes really could have been shaved down. And I just felt like it just went on way too long for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I do agree with you, Sam. Like there is a lot to talk about, and it definitely doesn't let you leave the film and leave it behind, because you do sit there and go like, what the fuck? What the hell?
yeah.
But yeah, for me, I'm not trying to like attack your 3. I think that's a valid. You got a valid
How dare
defense
you
for it.
give a 3?
But it is the It's just the decisions of the way that Sam Neill acts. It's the overacting. It's all of that. I can't pull it up from there.
No, honestly, like I said, if it wasn't for the last scene, I don't think I'd be able to give it a 3, but I did really enjoy the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Yep. Yeah. Perfect. All right. And that ends our discussion of the film Possession. Thank you so much for listening to us today. Remember to follow us on Instagram. We are at ScreamStreamPod. Stop by our website, screamsandstreams.com, for more information about our episodes, descriptions of our categories, links to our research, our watchability scale, and a page where you can recommend movies you want us to discuss. Please rate, comment on, and subscribe to our show on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts. Until next time, this has been Mike and
Chad
and
Sam.
Scare you later.